Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Will.
And this is soimwatching Andor, Season 2, Episode 12, Jedha, Kyber, Erso.
The finale.
Pretty good.
Sort of the finale.
Well, I mean, the finale of the show, because then we're like
it was
immediately
very designed
into
to
Rogue
be
One.
like to set up Rogue One as like episode 13.
Yeah.
There's only so many places for it to go.
They can't go very far.
Yeah, they kept reminding us about Saw and Tivik, who are like huge parts of the Rogue One.
Yep.
We were kind of unsure about where Kafrene was because we really haven't seen.
Well, we've heard it before though in this show.
They've mentioned it.
Yeah, it's like a mining colony. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's the planet that Saw is on when that planet gets blown up.
Saw is on Jedha.
And when they blow up Jedha, do they blow up Jedha in Rogue One?
Oh, I feel like that's definitely where he is.
They do too. I think they blow up wherever Saw is and Scarif.
Okay. I'm pretty sure that's where he is because they said there's an Imperial whatever.
Yeah.
What's the...
Like a Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
They didn't say those words.
Jedha.
Imperial Destroyer. Yeah.
But yeah, they did.
They didn't say Star Destroyer.
Well, whatever. No. It wasn't... It was like like Star Trek, but it's like a USS Enterprise. There was like a big ship.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Not the Death Star, but there was a big ship.
The Destroyer. Star Destroyer.
Okay, so that's right.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
those are these ships.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. That was very helpful, actually. Well, that's what it was because then when we cut to Saw later, you could see one in like the horizon, fuck me, whatever.
The sky in space.
Yes, that's where he's in Jedha. I'm sick of this already. During the montage.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we pick up where we left off. And the Imperial or the ISB agents are on the 27th floor. They're about to get to the apartment, the safe house, just as Cassian has convinced Clea that she can come back.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I was not grasping is that by this point, Luthen is like a very fringe kind of paranoia part of the rebellion.
Well, they have wasted no time introducing as much bureaucracy as possible into this rebellion.
Sure.
And he has and always was operating on his own.
Right.
To push people like Andor.
Yeah.
Who are free thinkers and to use that motivation and that drive
kind of
to push the rebellion further. And the senators are like, we don't have a quorum to make this vote.
Okay.
And I was like, shut up.
I'm feeling very The Good Place about it. Like in the final season when they get to the actual good place and it's like Paul Scheer and the group of people.
Yeah.
And they're like, it'll take us no less than 400 years to establish the committee to punish ourselves for having allowed this oversight.
Watching the fucking Entmoot.
Yes. Yeah. I'm just like, I will kill you.
You got to be a little bit more agile as a rebellion.
It's unbelievable.
They do eventually get back to...
So basically they kill everyone.
Yeah, well,
the entire ISB unit.
They do their best on their own, but then K2 manages to find his way up there.
Just wasting soldiers.
Yeah,
it's incredible. Throwing them a lot more into the walls, basically.
Yeah, and also really horror movie shot of him holding Supervisor Hirt out in front of himself while the other fucking SWAT guys try to shoot at him and just getting shot. Psycho.
Like a horror movie.
I felt it was just the way it was lit. I was like, and it's just like this dead body coming at the camera.
I was like, is this a romance? It's beautiful. I love it.
I referenced it before, but Das Boot gave me a little bit of a perspective on that. Sometimes they're not in it because their heart is in it. Their Hirt is in it,
Very good.
And sometimes they are, but I don't know. Hirt felt like he a product of his environment.
Well, so's Dedra.
Yeah, but he was I felt he was younger and on his way up. I don't know.
Well, the other thing
he didn't smile when they were doing gross shit Kaido was. It's that kind of thing where I'm just kind of this is the world that they were living in, and they're trying their it's the world they know.
Well, that's the other thing too, is when I think it was in the third batch of episodes, maybe it was even back as far as the second batch of episodes, but when Dedra was like asking him information about like Axis after she'd been put on Gorman, and she was like, I don't remember the phrasing, but she basically was like, you're not gonna like make a, make a splash, doing this kind of stuff or whatever. And he goes, do you maybe think the reason why I got this instead of you is because I don't want to make a splash? Like, I'm not trying to do that. I wish I could remember the actual phrasing.
Sure. Yeah,
it was
I get
solid.
your vibe though. Yeah.
But yeah, he just was like, I'm trying to go under the radar. So that kind of goes to your point where it's like, he was potentially just doing his job, which is, the coward's excuse or whatever. But still, I can kind of see that. But I don't know. It is delightful to watch these space Nazis just get absolutely wasted by the rebellion,
Sure.
I love it. It's fantastic. That brings us to the thing, which I think I mentioned already, but it's like Clea is very convinced that she's going to be a prisoner.
Yeah.
If she goes there. And that was what I was like not connecting, which is like I didn't realize how much everybody was not like into the way Luthen was doing it. And so basically everything's fine. They get back. Cassian's not allowed to fly anymore. Clea goes to the infirmary, and then he goes to have this conversation with the senators. So Bail is there, and then there's a couple other senators and Mon Mothma, and then General Draven. He stays as well, and so they have this conversation. He's like, here's the thing. Here's what Clea told me. It's Jedha, it's Kyber crystals, something on Gorman. It was all a setup, like, and then also Gale and Erso. All of these things. They're connected somehow. This is the information that he got straight from an ISB agent literally yesterday. Like, and you need to talk to Clea about it too. Something needs to happen. And they're all just immediately like, no, also Luthen's crazy. Also, it's a trap. There's no way we're following this. How could you be so stupid? And I was just like, fuck all of you guys.
Like, shut up. Do you not know what this guy did for you?
And they also, it was very, Cassian and Mon Mothma have been compromised. Like, because they knew Luthen and now he's dead. And they also, one of them even was like, how do we even know? How can we believe he's dead? And I'm like, what an odd thing to lie about.
Yeah.
Whatever. So Mon and Cassian are both like pretty much convinced because they did know him.
Yeah.
And Cassian was like, it was really paraphrased, but he was like, yeah, I hated him, but I still believe him. And it was like, yeah, he sucked and I didn't like him, but
it was more
no
like
reason.
I saw him for his good and his bad, and I elected to
I was reading the subtext.
leave his side to be here on Yavin because I believe in that more than what he's doing.
Right.
But that doesn't take away what he has done.
Yeah.
And what he built from nothing.
And that's what I was going to say is I was like, I feel like you 4 senators or 4 or 5 senators would not even be on this planet together doing this right now if it weren't for the foundation that Luthen built in the first place. Of course. He's been doing for however old Clea is minus how old she was when he first found her.
Yeah.
So, and it potentially even more, because it seemed like he might have been doing something before he even rescued her.
No, I think he was maybe like on the verge of like question. He was like definitely questioning his place in whatever military unit he was a part of.
Yeah.
But he was still in it at that time.
Yeah.
I think that's the way I read that.
That's fair. I can agree with that. So anyway, he asks if he can. So he's grounded and he's confined to his quarters.
Cassian is
grounded from flying, not grounded like a child. And so he asks if he can go to the infirmary to see Clea. And before anybody else can talk, Mon Mothma is like 100% go do that right now. Because Bail is about to be like, no, and I'm taking away your Discman too. Like, it's really. So he goes and he talks to Clea and he's like, I'm really sorry. It's not like as good news as I was hoping when we got back. But we'll, see what we can do. And then he goes back to his little house and Vel has talked to Mon Mothma and Mon is like.
Mon goes to Vel and says, I'm not going to tell you what he told me. I want you to hear it from him.
Yeah.
And tell me how you feel about
if I should
what he
believe
said.
him.
Yeah.
And so Vel goes and they drink to basically Luthen and their fallen comrades. I guess I hadn't been reading between the lines, and probably a huge part of it is because of how much I like the entire Skarsgård family. But I just didn't realize how much everyone hated him. Because Cassian is like, Luthen's dead. Would you like to have a drink to him? And she goes, only once. Like, and I was like, God damn! Like,
well, she and him were always at odds,
Yeah.
even at the beginning. Like, even just trying to convince her to take Andor on Aldhani.
yeah,
She was like, you're fucking like, I am in the shadows with you, and you're like in darker shadows than me. Like, come on, dude, give me something to work with here.
So they end up drinking to basically everybody. It's a pretty nice scene. He tells her what he knows, and she does end up talking to. Well, as she's leaving, Clea has ripped the weird
sucky
medical sucky things out of her arm, and she's just walking around in the rain.
Yeah, I don't know what her goal was. I feel like she was just gonna like walk into the woods and die. But I don't know. It was a little bit of a weird scene, and she's obviously like kind of out of her head still because she's got bonked on the noggin.
Yeah.
But Vel sees her and covers her up and takes her.
Yeah. So they talk about the whole thing, and then presumably, because I don't think there was another scene with Vel and Mon where they spoke, was there?
No.
Yeah. So presumably she just was like, "This is actionable information. Like, we definitely should do something." And then in the meantime, Tivik, who is in Rogue One, has been contacting Yavin, but will only speak to Cassian, and he is on Kafrene, and so Draven basically organizes it so that Cassian's not grounded anymore immediately, just like every other time we've had this situation. And he is now then going with the K2 unit to Kafrene to talk to him, and there's a really long montage.
It's a long montage of like slow-mo shots of basically everyone that we've seen that is still alive.
Yeah. So Perrin
just kind of going about their lives, including Perrin.
Perrin is
no take Homa, notably.
Schmammered. No take Homa.
I think he was.
That's too bad. I might have liked to actually like see it.
Yeah,
but
I don't know. He was a little bit of a smarm.
He was, but I like the actor a lot.
Yeah, he was fun.
So anyway, Perrin is getting hammered in the back of his fancy car with his
presumably
in-law.
Coming home from an all-nighter because it's like daytime when they're driving and they're still like dressed up, but she's passed out.
He's also got like what's the movie I want to think of? Not really Morbius, but there's like a Jared Leto movie where his hair's all slicked back like that, and he's like it's very really smarmy and like oily, and what do you call that? It's not like.
You're going to try to think of another word after the way this started.
I know, it's awful. I'm just the worst. No, but it's like she is the daughter's husband's mother. What do you call that relationship?
In-law.
Yeah, but like nothing. Like what in-law? Nothing. Just in-law. Like what would my dad call your mom?
Your husband's mom.
Yeah, really weird. So anyway,
that was riveting.
They are clearly what I think is clearly having an affair.
I think it's this, like we talked about before, where she was kind of like, she's your lover, is she not? That kind of thing.
Sure.
I don't know if she wasn't referring to this specific woman at that time.
Well, and I mean, he is essentially widowed. Like,
she's gone, and it sounds like they were like, loosey goosey enough that she wasn't like, fuck you. She was like this again,
Yeah, right. So that was really that was hilarious to me, actually. And then it
was just funny to check in on him because we haven't really seen him since the wedding. Episodes.
And then there was the shot of Saw with the Imperial ship in the air. Was there another one before we get to the end? And the
Wilman and Drina.
Yeah, they're just hanging out
doing their thing.
Yeah,
there was a lot of that.
And Vel and Mon like having lunch together.
Clea, woke up, presumably at Vel's, and was just kind of standing at the door and watching people go by, and she like got just the tiniest little
smile,
because she realized what they built.
Yeah, it's great. And then We did cut back to, I forget the name of the planet, but the wheat planet where we were
I do forget
in
that
the
too.
first
The first batch.
two batches, were we not? Were they gone by the end of the first batch?
I think they're gone by the end of the
B2 is there. He seems happy. He has a little droid friend. That was the peak of this episode for me. Truly incredible. No notes. 10 out of 10. And then we see Bix, and she's walking through the wheat fields, and she's got a fucking baby. And I couldn't be less interested that she has a baby. I don't care for it at all because I think she has to have known when she left Cassian that she was pregnant, which kind of annoys me. And then I don't like that that's what she's been reduced to. I'm very annoyed that she wasn't doing anything for the rebellion. She just went back to live. That annoys me a lot. I don't know. That was like, I really think the only thing that this show didn't get right was Bix for some reason. And it's just very tropey, and I don't like it. It also doesn't make me feel hopeful. I think it actually undercuts the tragedy of their relationship and the tragedy of it and their separation by having her have this baby. I don't like it.
I don't have any of those thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't care really. Like
I feel like I might be alone on an island, which is fine. It just is very
I think they're allowed one tropey female character on this show full of
which is fine.
People doing like women doing the exact opposite.
I think I might be finer with it if it felt like she and Cassian were actually some sort of love for the ages, but it felt like a very on again, off again romance of convenience that like I never got the impression that they were like ride or die in love with each other. And like maybe they weren't, and this baby is just like, hey, the next generation of like, you know, and this baby's gonna have a great life because we're about to defeat the Empire, you know. But I just
sort of.
Well, for like 20 years, I mean.
Takes them a while to get it all the way done.
No, I know. I don't know. There was something about it. Just as soon as she was walking the field, I was like, that bitch has a fucking baby in her arms. And I was like, it was an immediate ick for me. I didn't care for it at all.
No problem whatsoever for me. I just was fine. Because I just don't have that, like my expectations for Bix were lowered because of the rape stuff.
Yeah.
And not my opinion of her as a like person, but just how the like handling of the character that was kind of like you said, like it was a little bit of a miss. I think that she just kind of existed to be like a target for a handful of episodes, at least most of this series actually. Once she gets messed up by the like Gorst guy, it's like a real issue. And so I think they just wanted to give her like what she would see as a happy ending.
Yeah.
And I again agree with you that is like a very tropey happy ending, like just putting a kid in her arms and letting her be a mom somewhere. But there needs to be people that do that. And also she's like done her part. You know, and I think that, yes, she probably did know that she was pregnant, and she probably would not have left if she didn't know. I think if Cassian found out, he would for sure have
gone
left
with her 100%. I know.
And because of your fucking favorite character in the show, the Force healer.
Yeah.
She felt what she said and was like, Cassian is the key.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she left, and then she didn't put that in the message because he would have come.
Of course.
So it I don't think it is like the most nailed character thing.
It's just to me, it's really glaring because it's the only thing that I feel like they didn't nail.
For sure.
I think everything else about this show is like 10 out of 10, and then it's just like. And I'm Eunice, you know, with Bix, and I'm just like, ugh, like.
I don't have as bad of an ick, but I really was like, get to the point with her.
Yeah.
And then, she blew up Gorst and then like,
which was great,
and then ran
and
away.
I liked that, but that also felt more about her personally.
Yeah.
Than which I guess it did help
Well, it
them,
helped her
but
clear her head.
But it helped like the rebellion as well because they were setting up that whole new thing for Gorst. But we also neglected to mention Dedra is in full prison.
She's on Narkina 5.
Yeah, full prison.
Yeah.
Which they've apparently locked back down.
Yeah, well, yeah, there was only, I think in shots of the planet, there are pods.
Oh, multiple.
Yeah,
okay.
so she, like, I think they had problems with that one.
Yeah.
And they, like, honestly could have just, like, let it die all the way out.
Yeah.
And then been okay.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say is, I can't remember if it was something that I was talking about with Trevor or if it was something I read, but in the Wheat Planet stuff before Brasso dies, I even thought, and I think you did too, that the guy actually did rat him out.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a theory somewhere that Brasso said that so that guy wouldn't get targeted.
Oh.
Yeah.
Smart.
And I was like, that's actually great. Because I was like, why the fuck did Bix go back to this place where it was such a big deal?
I guess that must be why. Yeah.
That could certainly be the reason.
Sure.
Why. Which I love. I like that way more than the guy actually ratting.
100%. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually.
Oh, also, Mon Mothma has her terrible hair now. I was hoping we maybe...
No.
You don't have to be totally...
She's in her, Rogue One, New Hope stuff. She's on Yavin. She's got her Yavin look.
Yeah, but it's not the 70s anymore.
Yeah, I did want to mention about Dedra. I think, well, for a second I was like, man, that's harsh for just, that's harsh punishment just for like, going a little bit outside your purview, especially for someone like Krennic who is like, she went for him because he knew things. But once I thought about it, I was like, oh, this is a mercy because Krennic would have killed her because she knows about the Death Star as well.
Yeah, but it feels like the Death Star is kind of an open secret at this point.
No? Is
that why Partagaz killed himself? Blasted himself?
Because he was running the op that was to go get Clea, who was at the time the last people that knew about the Death Star, and now he failed.
Whole rebellion. No, okay, sure.
So, yeah. That was a great scene. We didn't really talk about that. It was very, like the warden from Shawshank.
Yeah,
situation.
I was going to say the same thing.
I really loved... It was so clear what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then the guy goes outside, they hear the blaster shot, and the guy is just like...
Because there
was two stormtroopers out there that flinched and wanted to go in there. Yeah. And he was just like, no, just give it a second.
It was great.
Yeah, really, really great.
I give it a 99 out of 100. It's really just the Bix stuff for me that keeps it from being like the 100% A+. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, largely really great. I am excited to watch
Rogue One again.
Rogue One to see how it kind of flows in. But yeah, I mean, really great. I'm also very excited to look at Felicity Jones for 2 hours. She's so pretty.
She actually looks so great in that movie, in Rogue One.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just because they dirty her up a bit, and then it really she's got such eyes,
such big greenish blue eyes, just so pretty. Yeah, great. I loved it.
Yeah, me too. I think it's the fucking best thing they've put out since Empire Strikes Back.
Rogue One.
I think it's better than Rogue One. I mean, I will see after I reassess it.
Yeah,
but I think as 24 hours of fucking the amount of hits, win after win after win.
Yeah.
Especially that third batch of episodes this season.
That's maybe some of the best TV I've ever seen.
Nuts. It was so good.
Yeah.
So I think it's better than any of the movies they've put out, other than arguably Rogue One.
Yeah. Agreed.
And I think it's better than this season specifically. Before we watched this season, I was like, I'll argue with you about Mandalorian or Andor being better. Andor's better as a whole.
Sure, as a whole.
If you are someone who doesn't vibe with the slightly off Star Wars brand stuff, like Rogue One and Andor, you're not gonna win with it. Sure. It's not gonna come to you the more you watch it.
Yeah,
because it's so stylistically cohesive the whole time. But it's just so fucking good. It's so well. It's the so clear that they've made this thing without meddling. With
Yeah.
no
That part,
Yeah.
especially.
And Tony Gilroy posted this, or I guess someone posted an interview that Tony Gilroy did, and who was asked about Kathleen Kennedy, who he rightly says gets shit on online, and sometimes I feel like it's warranted. Some shit that comes out that Star Wars is not good. But he was like, I sat down with her and I was like, the first fucking scene is going to be in a brothel, and she was like, good. And then he's going to kill 2 cops, and she was like, even better. And then she like,
can we make it more?
Yeah, and she made sure that he was like, the Gilroy brothers were like allowed to make what they were going to make.
Yeah.
And I read today too that one of the things that he said, he was like, I want the production designer from Chernobyl, and she was like, we're getting him.
Yeah.
I
mean, Chernobyl looks amazing, and I can't stress enough how much we love that they went outside.
Oh my God.
There's so many, because I've been seeing it on Instagram. There's so many actual real places in specifically Europe where they went and they filmed so many of these buildings, because the architecture there is great.
Yeah.
And even the new stuff looks really, like, newer architecture looks really cool. So there's that. And then also, I mean, the costumes in this show are unreal.
Really great.
Unreal.
Like, really elevated.
Yeah.
The Empire
really fantastic. And then again, the set design, it just like everything looks correct, and it looks close enough to the 70s, and it's just it's really impressive.
The one thing I felt
really good.
that took away from that, I mean, this like ever so slightly, it did not impact my opinion of the show overall, is that how much we were starting to see like video feeds and not the holograms, which is fine.
Yeah.
I just was like, then they didn't really have that in the 70s movies. So not that they, couldn't have thought that up, and I'm sure they had screens and shit, but seeing like a security camera footage of Dedra, I was like, this just feels so
Clea.
slightly no, when Dedra was in the interrogation, they had the security.
Oh, sure. But there was also all the security stuff of
hospital.
Clea in the hospital. And I
did like that scene though.
Yeah, I didn't even put that together until you said something about it. But yeah. So yeah, overall, really good. Can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I think so. The last thing we watched that was Star Wars before this was Skeleton Crew.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's this.
Mm-hmm.
I think they win. Disney, Star Wars, Kathleen Kennedy win if they give whoever show ran Skeleton Crew and Tony Gilroy as much money as they want in their pockets and a reasonable fucking budget to make the stuff they want. Because those are 2 very specific audiences that are not wildly broad.
Yeah.
Like this Skeleton Crew so clearly
for kids.
Targeted kids, but was entertaining in a way that adults could enjoy it too, the same way the original movies were.
Yeah.
And then Andor is the stuff that grew up with the viewer, with the people who loved it as kids, and now maybe sometimes want something a little more sophisticated. And I really loved both. So you can hit both targets if you let people make what they want to fucking make, and hire good people to do it.
I agree completely. It's all we talk about. Whenever we see a Disney movie, whenever we watch a Star Wars, whenever we watch an MCU, you have to give it to people who give a shit.
Yeah.
And they're just...
And stay out of their way.
Consistently giving it to people who either don't give a shit or people who are willing to basically bow to the studio notes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, they had a clear endpoint when they went into making this, which I'm sure was a nice little leg up, so that they were always building towards something specific, because they had Rogue One before this was thought of for several years. But I believe that Tony and Dan Gilroy could sit down and write something out of the Skywalker era and make it great.
That's the other key that we keep saying.
The fucking Old Republic is so political.
Yeah.
It's like, that's like before shit really kicks off. It's very politics heavy.
Yeah. But that's the other thing that we keep saying, is that like, just get away from the Skywalkers. It's the whole fucking galaxy. Like,
yeah, and timeline.
Yeah.
And like, we just got done saying how great Andor is, and it exists in the Star Wars, or in the Skywalker era, and it even built up to a movie we already have, which is in antithetical to what we were just talking about.
But I think
But do it good and we'll be fine.
It speaks to how good it is.
Yeah, it's really great.
All right, I'm going to wrap up before we talk
Keep waffling
forever. Yeah, really great. 10 out of 10. If you're still watching now, husband/editor Will is potentially going nowhere. He might keep doing stuff with us on camera.
Sure.
Me specifically. So
OnlyFans coming in.
Oh God, Jesus. No, but we might do. Someone asked in our last live if we were gonna do Ironheart, the next MCU show. Maybe, potentially. But yeah, we'll just keep an eye out for things that we are interested in that maybe Will Brooks is a little bit less interested in. And then
also stuff that like comes out during the week when he's not here.
Exactly. So yeah, so just keep your eye out and you'll see this guy around again. Lots of people, the people who are watching like you, they've been asking about you. So yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All 5 of you.
All right, that's it for us.
Bye.